I think I did it. Please check. Hi, guys. Can you hear me? So please forgive me. This is my first live without a streaming platform. So I'm not sure how this is all working. So I'm just waiting because I think Mish is in the background somewhere lurking, and I'm hoping she will pop on in a second. I'm looking at comments and oh yay, Scotty boy, you found me. Yay, 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 yay. It has been a day. I'm so thrilled. Great. Whew. So the issue is Restream charged my credit card $490 and I flipped out on them. I was like, no way, Jose, am I paying for that? Dump it. When I scheduled this live, I said yes, streaming service. And so it flummoxed me. So I just recreated this using webcam. So for now, I may not look good. I don't know. I don't care. I'm live. Woohoo! Elizabeth, yay! It's not just you, it's Scotty here. So, I mean, I was outside, I was shoveling, and then I come inside and oh yeah, yo, yo, yo. So I'm so happy that you guys are all here. So blessings to everybody. It's been a day. We got 6 inches of snow. So I'm others are on right now. Okay, so I just texted Mish because I was in a panic, and so anyway, after this I can figure out how all this wonderful stuff works. But because I'm backwards, my hair is backwards, everything's backwards, but that's okay. We're live, so welcome, blessings, happy to have you here. So glad you guys can hear me, and so wonderful. Let me just tell Mish I scheduled a new live. Check it out. All right. So why are we here today? We have come. Yes, you were lagging, but I wasn't sure if it was you or me, but it's working now. Yeah, and it could be me, you know. So and my eyes are semi-blind because I've been focused in on the computer and my little pupils are teeny, 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 teeny. So we've been talking over this last period of time about, well, actually, for almost a full year. At the end of December, beginning January, it will be a full year of me going live here on YouTube. So, a big thank you to everyone that has tuned in at any point in time. I'm so thrilled that you've been here and you've stuck it out with me. I don't know who's typing hey ya. I did not do that. So I'm guessing that lovely person is Mish. So the 12 universal laws of the universe, which we're going to get into some detail with, have guiding principles. And recently, I've talked a lot on this channel about Don Miguel Ruiz's The Four Agreements. And it's your clone. It is my clone. Do, 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 do. I misspoke, and I've owned it. So the people that I was in a chat with, they all know I apologized. I went down a dark road, and I shouldn't have, because it wasn't the setup for that. And I didn't mean to. It just sort of stumbled out of my mouth. And what do we talk about? Use your words wisely. And so today, as we talk about the final of the 12 universal laws of the universe, and there are so many. Thanks, Mish, for being here. Love you, and I'm so glad you're here. And we need to talk after this live if you can be there. I think I need to hire you to be my consigliere. Okay, so the law of gender, it really teaches us that creation requires a balance between our masculine and feminine energies. It serves, right, as the guiding principle that ties together all of the 11 other universal laws, which we're going to talk about. It reminds us that manifestation is not just about thought or actions alone, but about harmonizing the nurturing feminine and the driving masculine forces in every aspect of our life. So let's talk a little bit more about it. And as people find us, great. If people don't, that's okay too. I'm just so blessed that you guys are all here. So the essence of the law of gender. Every person contains both masculine and feminine energies, regardless of your sex. You know, I was born as a woman. I have masculine energy. I have feminine energy. You throw them together and I'm in a good soup. The symbolism. So feminine energy is the seed, right? It's ideas, it's intuition, it's nurturing. The masculine energy, Scotty, is the pollen, right? It's action, it's structure, it's drive. Both are necessary for creation. Yes, it is. I mean, I've been practicing recently, but it is necessary if you want to create. The balance part of it, right? Overemphasizing on one leads to imbalance. So if I'm more masculine, then I'm imbalanced. Too much masculine energy causes burnout, while too much feminine energy can lead to stagnation, or in my case, emotional breakdowns. Just saying. The application of the law of gender, right? Its true fulfillment and manifestation comes from integrating both of these energies in our lives, right? And, if anybody has ever watched Elizabeth on her channel when she does the cards and she talks to you about it, she's incorporating all of the energies. It's not just male or female. It's the oracle or the tarot decks, right, Elizabeth? They're a blend of masculine and feminine. And I'm just waiting for her to confirm that because I believe that is true. I have tried to learn tarot and I'm just, it's not it doesn't resonate fully with me. And so when we think about the 12 universal laws and their connection to gender, Scotty says, I think it's harder for males to find a balance and balance feminine energy than the other way. And I probably think that's true because, and Scotty, maybe you can tell me if this is true or not, right? Sometimes there's a judgment. Oh, Scotty's tapping into his feminine side. And there's always a judgment. So when a man has a conversation with a woman, sometimes women even say, oh, for God's sakes, he's tapping in, he's too feely touchy for me. Okay. Millions of women say they want their man to be intuitive and to be affectionate and to be a little softer. And then you criticize when a man is a little bit softer. Not everybody can come in like a military man charging like a bull in a china shop and sit down and me want drink. Me want my meal. Me want my woman. We're not that way, right? I also don't need a man to play the harp for me all day long and to tap into, well, let me know what you're really feeling. We should be able to have a conversation and it shouldn't be awkward either way. And look, I've been on my own for so long. I have those masculine tendencies. There's a neighbor who is completely shocked and appalled that I weed whack, that I mow, that I shovel, that I dig holes, that I put things together. He thinks that a man should do that. Now, maybe that's, I don't want to say that's true, but that's been a role for him in his life. Well, hell's bells, if I had a man, maybe I would be relegating some of those man chores. But there ain't no man. So that's me. I embody the fact that I am physically capable, mentally capable of performing these tasks with a lot of vocabulary, with a lot of flavorful words while I'm putting things together, or weed whacking and then have to take a break after 5 minutes because I can't hold the damn things that long. Look at this, Captain O'Captain, caveman. Yes, I know. And so let me just see. I don't know if I can. So, guys, bear with me a second because I don't know if I can show these. Oh, I can pin message. There you go. Does that? Oh, no, that's pinning it. That's not displaying it on screen. Well, anyway, let me go back with my glasses. Mish says, I am having a hard time right now. The neighbors are apparently having a party and playing loud music with bass. I'm not the same person when that happens. Sorry, Mish. All right, so we can unpin that. Um, Scotty says, yes, no man wants to hear that. um, and then Elizabeth says, wish I could put it on the screen. All right, guys, I'm going to figure this out eventually, how to put it on the screen. But it says, our society is heavy masculine. Whoops. Go, go, go. I find it hard to be in my feminine because the masculine takes over. Yeah, it's true. Let me scroll down, scroll. Bradley and I have changed roles quite a bit over the last couple of years. Yep. I'm going to lose my mind if I see my 85-year-old neighbor out there pushing the mower. I'm like, Joyce, knock it off. So, yeah, right? I mean, but so there's nothing wrong with role reversals. Some of the things that we criticize our partners for or other people. If I have a partner, we're going to pretend that I have, Romeo next to me and we're committed. And then something happens to me and Romeo bolts because he can't handle it. Okay, I didn't choose the right partner because, buckle up, buttercup. You need to stick by your person. Vice versa. If I bolted, same thing. But here's the thing, women, because of our nurturing ability, usually suck it up and they do what they have to do. And you think about this when people come back from war and they're wounded and all that kind of stuff. People should, in theory, circle that person regardless of your gender and do what needs to be done. And I'm the kind of person that, I want my garden. I want to be able to dig and build my raised beds and, all of those kinds of crazy things that if I had a fella, I'd be out there helping him. But yes, I would be letting him do the hard work because he's physically stronger than me. That's the benefit of being a man. And then when he comes in, I'll have a good meal cooked for him. And look, that doesn't mean that he couldn't cook a meal for me. So it's a twofer, right? We kind of have to balance that with ourselves. Just checking the comments, guys. So my eyes are darting around all over the place. So when you think about the laws of the universe, right? The first one is the divine oneness. Everything is interconnected, and we've talked about this. Gender balance reflects that unity. Masculine and feminine are inseparable parts of our whole. We've got them. And yeah, I was going to go off a tangent. I'm going to bring myself back. My ADD brain my squirrely brain was going to go, oh, there's a topic I want to talk about. But the vibration is the second law of the universe. All things vibrate at frequencies. Masculine energy often drives outward vibrations. Me man. Feminine energy tunes inward. Come, let me hold you, right? When you think about that. Correspondence is the third law of the universe. Patterns repeat across levels. Gender energies mirror the cosmic dualities, yin and yang, sun and moon, night and day. Right? And then the law of attraction. Like attracts like. Balanced energies attract harmony. Imbalance attracts discord. So, as Mish said, sometimes roles have to reverse. It could be a lot of reasons that that happens. And we step up to the plate when we are needed or required, right, to do that, whether our partner is not well or is having some kind of an issue. We sometimes step in, and that is okay. I will say it's a heavy burden, and maybe Mish can speak to that. I don't want to speak for her, but I can say that, when we step out of our traditional roles, it's a lot, and we bend and sway. So let's see. Elizabeth says, yesterday I went out there and told her to go inside and put on a coat. Yeah, look, she's pushing a mower. I have all this snow out here. And here's the blessing, right? I was out there sweeping the steps most of the day to keep up with the snow. My neighbor, my housemate, we live in a two-family. He's a young man. He does this for his girlfriend as well, but he shoveled the steps, cleared the walkway without being asked. Well, he wasn't asked by me, but he did my side as well. So when I'm out there and I'm sweeping the steps, I will do that for them. But the heavier part, this is snowman building snow. When I say it is packed, it's heavy, it's wet. I was out there like Elsa singing, "Do you want to build a snowman?" And every time I started to build the snowman, the puppies thought it was a game and they dove through it. I never got to build the snowman. And right now they're both passed out. One's on the couch next to me, the other one's on the chair. They're so wiped out from playing in the snow. I'm like, thank you, God. Maybe they will sleep and leave me alone tonight because mama needs to sleep. So then we talk about inspired action, right? Actions aligned with intuition. And that is really connected to the feminine provides inspiration. The masculine executes action. Now, does that mean that women don't execute action? No. Does that mean men aren't inspirational? No. It's the intuitive part of us, and we are aligned with that. Okay, so I'm seeing some comments. Don't tell me nothing. I'm 85. Oh, yeah. And that's going to be me because you know what? If that 85-year-old has been having to take care of herself or himself this entire time, having someone else say something, yeah. Although I bet dimes to donuts that lady or man, I can't remember what you said, you said Joyce. It's appreciated that you were caring. And that's a beautiful thing. Something about a stubborn woman, though. Mad respect. Yes, absolutely. I wish we had some. Oh my goodness, it's so nice. I can't even tell you. I've had a blast out there with the puppies. Even I'm tired, but I've been trying to figure out this YouTube thing. I've been trying to use my words and I have failed 2 days in a row, but tomorrow's a new day. Mish says, it is becoming most vulnerable and looking at each other and ourselves differently through love. It works. Through pride, incredibly damaging. Yeah. So, look, it's hard, right? When there is this pride. When I don't want to wish this on anybody, so I want to be careful about how I say what I'm about to say. So please give me some grace for a minute. When I died, I had to surrender ultimate care of myself for a period of time. When my father and his wife were staying with me, when my brother was staying with me, with my other brother and his wife stayed with me, when a friend of mine came to stay with me, I had to acquiesce. I had to relinquish the, oh, let me cook for you. Let me clean. Let me get the bedrooms ready. Let me change the sheets. Let me do the laundry. Um, I could do one thing. I could sit in the recliner. Oh, I'm getting verklempt. I could sit in the recliner and I had to be humble. I had to be respectful. I had to be vulnerable and say, yeah, I can't do that. Thank you so much. And by the way, can someone help me get out of this damn chair and get me to the bathroom before I tinkle in my own. So it's really hard sometimes when you are used to a certain way of being, right? What is the blessing of having people come and care for you if you don't allow them to care for you? And yes, there is a stubborn streak. And it is difficult to say, yeah, you know, you got to step out of your comfort zone, Scotty. You are so right. And it's not easy. It's not easy to step out of it, especially control freak, type A, firstborn, bossy sister, bossy daughter. I know everything. um, oh, thanks, Mish. But you still need to be respectful of your words and your situation. So, we'll let that go for a minute. But in taking care of yourself, right? It's sometimes people have to do that for you and they want to. Oh my God, the number of people, even some church people who I didn't go to their church. They're like, we'll drive you to the doctors when your family's not around and you cannot drive. And thank God they drove, because if I did drive, I was already having chest pains. I would have been apoplectic on the way to the doctors. We have to allow people to be kind to us. And that for me was a great lesson. So what I meant to say was we all shouldn't have to die in order to have that lesson or experience. But if we're in a position where we need help, and I think this is where I went awry last night too, in a conversation, I was talking about the fact that I've been humbled to have to go to the food pantry a couple times a month. My whole life I have given to food pantries. My whole life I have helped other people. I have run charity drives. And for me, in order to accept that, it was like upside the head. You have to step back and you have to say, sometimes you need a little help. You need a little bit. It's like a kid outstretching their hands and to the adult that's there and say, lift me up. Pick me up, mommy. Pick me up, daddy. Pick me up, friend. And I have been incredibly blessed with people that have picked me up. Okay, we're going to get over the emotional piece here. It's been a very emotional couple of days. Hold, please. All right. So back to the laws. So perpetual transmutation is the sixth law of the universe that says energy is constantly changing form. So this goes back to Misha. Gender energies transform ideas into reality through nurturing and action. And sometimes they have to be swapped out and shaken up. What is it? Shaken, not stirred. It's your energy. It's oh, you're verklemting me. So, and then the seventh law of the universe, right? It's cause and effect. Every action has a reaction. Masculine energy creates causes. Feminine nurtures effects into growth. And again, this isn't narrowing that a man can't do the opposite and a woman can't do the opposite. It's the law, the universal law. That's how we were created. We can debate who created us, why we were created, if we're in some matrix, which makes me crazy with that word because all I think about is the movie, and I don't want to think of myself being plugged into something and someone's sort of puppeting me into this world I'm in, because I will kick their ass for putting me in some of the positions I've been in. um the eighth law of the universe is compensation, right? The universe balances input and output. Gender balance ensures a fair exchange. You're giving masculine and receiving feminine. All right. I am the worst at accepting things. I only now, yep, you're only now learning how to receive. Yeah. So it's not that easy to receive. It just, especially if you've been giving your whole life. And look, a lot of pressure over the decades or centuries, I would dare say, have been on men. Please provide food, provide a house, provide a car, a job, money, take care of the family. Again, me caveman, me protect, me do all this. And women have or were conditioned to that way of, yes, I must receive this. I still give you, keep a clean house, I cook for you in theory. And so, it's been a role that men were relegated to or defined to have. If all those centuries ago it was role reversal, it would be fine because that's all you know. But for a man to receive, usually it's like, oh shit, what's the catch, right? And women, though we receive, we are often giving and giving and giving and giving. And if we receive something, we're like, what's the catch? And I think that this comes to a balance. This is in friendships. This is in relationships, in some kind of partnership, even if it's a business partnership. It's give and take. And the cards will tell you that as well. And the energies that we all have, that's what it does. The ninth law of the universe is relativity, right? Everything is relative. Gender energies contextualize each other. Strength is relative to softness. I'm seeing something here. Hold on. It puts a different perspective on everything. The roles of giver and receiver each come with their own stipulation that stem from generation to generation. Absolutely. It is definitely generational DNA. I remember watching my father treat my brothers certain ways and me another way. And so I've been thinking a lot about my dad. Oh my God, I'm going to cry again. Wow, my cup is running over. Let me just get a grip, snap out of it. But he would allow my brothers to ride their bike in the neighborhood. He would encourage them to drive cars and go out with friends. That was not the same for me. And it wasn't because of love. It was protection. It was like, well, girls can't be out there. And if you're hanging out with friends, then now he's from the Bronx. So I'm going to try to do my dad's best Bronx accent. Don't be a whore. Don't be a whore. Don't go out there with all those boys. The funniest thing is that he pushed me to go to a private school for high school. I was the only girl in my freshman class. There were 80 boys and I was the only girl. So, okay, you don't want me to be a hooer, but you're putting me in a soup filled with boys. Thank you, Scotty. My dad would call me and he'd say, yeah, I'm having a cup of coffee and we're talking here. And the next thing you know, it's when I got off the phone with him and I was with my friends from Boston, all of a sudden I was having coffee with them and we were talking a little bit. And they're like, who did you talk to, your mother or your father? Because your accent's coming out. And I never thought I had an accent. And then when I went home, I never said pack or ca, but there are words and idioms you would pick up. And they'd be like, "What are you from Boston?" I'm like, "Yes." So I can't win. But I think that, when we think about the complications of relationships, of being a woman and or being a man, we do have to tap into, well, what does this mean really? And I think, Scotty, as we age, I think we don't give a hoot anymore, right? I don't give a hoot about the stereotypes. Because if the man in my neighborhood can't put together something and I know how, I'm going to do it. This past summer, I had a raised bed that I was trying to put together. And it was a little bit complicated, but it really wasn't. It just needed two sets of hands. The guy bellowed across the stream, "Bring it over here, we'll do it for you." Um, his wife, my girl neighbor, and I, we put it together. He couldn't figure it out. And he sat there, and usually that's what he does. He sits there and he judges us and he criticizes us. But yet we put the damn thing together. He tried to put one together himself that he had purchased. He couldn't do it. All the girls had to do it. Now, that's not a judgment, but he was bellowing like, "Me man, me can do. And you girls, go cook." You know, but it's okay for him to grill. So there's stereotypes and there's ways of believing what we should and shouldn't do, what we can and can't do, who we are and who we aren't. And I think one of the things that I want to talk about in the coming whenever is feminism, because feminism started out just to be paid for doing the same thing. We wanted respect. We wanted our own credit card. We earned it. We were independent. There was no man taking care of us. And what we see happening in the world is a reversal. There is a series of male individuals and some females that want women to go back to a certain way of being. It's sort of shades of gray because everyone thinks that was all sunshine and rainbows, and women were fighting for their rights. And so, we'll never go back in time. You don't see people out there going, "Ooh, Uncle Hitler, he was the best man in the world." And you don't see a statue anywhere, right? You don't see, "Ooh, Uncle Mussolini, he was just the best man ever. He protected us." You don't see that statue. If you're going to have leaders trying to put people, men and women, into categories and stereotype, "Oh, only Mexicans can do labor. Only Irish can do this. Only Italians should do this." We are a blended world. There's no pure anything. And I don't think there ever was. I think we were always mutts. Meaning, yes, for centuries. Well, no, I don't even think that's true. But I was going to say for centuries, like Italians would only marry Italians. But it also depends on what part of Italy you were from. Because if you were a Northern Italian and you married a Southern Italian, I'm not talking Sicily, then that was, you were changing the bloodlines, right? I can't speak for Ireland. I can't speak for England, but we've all been invaded by how many different cultures and countries, and we're just a mix of people. So there's no pure anything. You don't even have pure dogs anymore, right? People are always trying to make new breeds. So I think when we think about balancing, when we think about gender, when we think about feminism and masculinity, I think we need to think more clearly, what does that truly mean? And what do we envision? Maybe not my future. I mean, I have 20 years probably, maybe. I could have, whatever. Some of our audience is much younger. They really have to sit down and think, what do they want their futures to look like, and their children's future, and their grandchildren's future? So let me just check. You totally don't have an access anymore. There's a bit of humility there that is necessary and beneficial. Oh, I'm squinting again. Here are the eyeglasses. Wouldn't it be great, though, if we were all able to see the value in history by actually learning from it? Nah, we have to do other things our way. Yeah, I know, sister. I don't know anyone, just one race or nationality. Yeah, I don't. I really don't. Scotty Boy said, I do know a few pure Hawaiians, though. Well, so there you go. But I, you know, I had some friends from the Netherlands, from Denmark, um, that haven't been as exposed to other cultures until, the recent future, the recent past. Um, but love is love. When you love someone, you see past this. You only see the heart, right? So if some big Samoan came up and said, baby, baby, and wooed me, what would I care if he's not an Italian man? What's so great about Italian men? I have a whole family full. Most of them haven't been faithful to their wives ever. Forget the French, but it's cultural. People accept it. I don't accept it. All right. So the 10th law of the universe is polarity. Everything has opposites. Masculine and feminine are complementary poles of creation. And Mish was talking about that a little bit earlier as well. We are human. I'm a Heinz 57 myself. I am adopted, so I belong to no culture or have family history. I've always admired and appreciated various cultures, but never belonged. So there you go. I mean, a DNA test can tell you your DNA. It can't tell you your ancestry. Well, actually, I lie. It probably could tell you your ancestry if you really wanted to dig into it. But you're right. If you're not raised in a specific bubble, I just read a book that had me crying today, which is why I'm a little bit extra emotional. And in it, one of the main characters was basically given a death sentence. He had to move from Chicago to Florida for his health. And when he was a boy, he was dropped off on a doorstep. He grew up in an orphanage. He didn't have any family. And the whole story is his journey into finding a family through kindness of strangers. And it didn't matter where he came from. Echo, hello. Thank you for being here. So it really was, it and is beautiful. It almost doesn't matter. I've been a little weepy. I mean, I think, and we talked about this a little bit, and we've talked about this during the Thanksgiving, 24-hour cycle as well. Family isn't necessarily what society has defined. And as a matter of fact, if any of you caught Echo and Lucy, Body Illusions live, they had done a conversation about how Echo's family, Echo, I hope it's okay I talk about this, but Echo had talked about how her ex-husband's wife's family opened the door and welcomed her in. She didn't have to, but she did. And she did that for the benefit of her ex-husband's and hers daughter and granddaughter, and how beautiful that is. And on the opposite side, Body Illusion has how many family members, doesn't really speak to any and can't count on any of them, right? So it's just amazing when you think about how we can open the doors to love. And so gender, polarity, we have these opposites, and as we bring them together, really what a wonderful world it is. So the 11th law of the universe was rhythm. And we talked about how life moves in cycles. So gender energies ebb and flow. Masculine is expansion, feminine is contraction. And I think love trumps all. 100%, Scotty. And I think that's one of the things that I have been lamenting is that short of a small group, I feel love less. I don't feel like there's lots of love and I have an abundance to give. And yet that comes down to me. And that's a different discussion we'll be having in the near future is the choices we make. We talked a little bit about isolationism, right? Because isolationism, when you stay home, when you stay removed from interacting with people, how can you love? And if you're always protecting yourself from loving because you don't want to be hurt or disappointed, then really me, I'm the person that is preventing that experience. Then I just might have this magical, wonderful experience of having love in whatever form that means. And yes, I love these two chuckleheads sleeping in the room with me. Um, and I have some really good friends, but it's we talk about how do you balance that, but that is a topic for a different day. I'm going to try to stay focused. So gender. So this 12th law, creation requires both of these energies. Integrating law that harmonizes all the other laws. So when we think about gender as a bridge, it is the culmination of all these laws, showing that manifestation requires both inner alignment, which is the laws of vibration, attraction, correspondence, and the outer action, which is the laws of cause and effect, compensation, and inspired action. The balance across all laws. Each universal law operates more effectively when masculine and feminine energies are balanced. For example, the law of attraction works best when the feminine receptivity meets masculine initiative. The practical takeaway, the law of gender reminds us that spiritual principles are not abstract. They're not woo-woo, as Jimena would say. They require embodied balance. It is the harmonizing force that ensures all the laws are lived, not just understood. I believe several of us in the community will be having these discussions the next week or so. Necessary, hopefully, will help many of us. Yes, I think so. And I think, as I try to evaluate what I want to do in the coming year, do I want to go live one day a week or do 2 days a week and, make Healing Thursday a different kind of a live? But I really have to figure out this YouTube crap and not having a streaming service first so that I can, manage this. But in short, because I know we're coming up on the hour, the law of gender, it's the final key that unlocks the full power of all of these universal laws that we've talked about this whole year. It teaches that manifestation, healing, and growth are possible when we honor both the nurturing feminine and the driving masculine energies that are within all of us. Right? And so, yeah, the law of gender, baby. Oh, did somebody ask something? Let me see. Yes, go. Just had a money gig pop up. Yeah, go. Whoop, whoop. Law of gender. So, really, guys, I think as we move forward, as we think about these things, sorry, I just hit the computer screen. It's important for us, really to just acknowledge that within each of us, there is a masculine and feminine component. And some days one is stronger than the other. And I had a friend that said, when you're living the world outside of being one or the other, it blends a little differently. And I'm not an expert in the discussion, so I don't really want to talk about sort of, I have, people who are either gay or transgender or whatever that otherness is that people feel. Sometimes one gender is stronger than another, right? The feminine is stronger sometimes in men than it is in women. And the masculine energy is stronger in some women than in men. So it doesn't make us wrong. We need to find the balance. And I'm not an expert, so I'm not somebody that can really talk about these topics very well. But I would almost challenge or embolden someone to to have an openness to accept people that are a little bit different than what we would see as traditional feminine and masculine. Um, yeah. So that's different when you come to transgender, Scotty. Again, I'm not the right person to have these discussions. I always knew and always felt like I was a woman. Um, but I'm a ball buster. So there's a lot of masculine in me because I grew up with boys my whole life. I went to an all boy high school with only a handful of day student girls. So my life has revolved around strong masculinity. So I can come off a little, my masculine side can be strong. Less so in the most recent years, but I've also had to use that to be safe sometimes. And I think that, you know, we get I don't I'm not here to tell you what to be or not be. I can't tell you that you're right or wrong in how you feel. And I've had to learn in my life that if I want to be accepted for the wacky chick that I am, and I love this part of me, then I also have to do the same for others, right? And I love the wisdom of Mel Robbins' book, Let them be whoever they want to be. Let me decide how I want to respond. And I think if we want to affect change in the world, which is what the laws of the universe tell us, we have to be truthful to ourselves first. And what bothers us about somebody else's choice? And I've talked about that a little bit, and I'll talk more about that as we move on in the next coming year. But sometimes something bothers me so much about a choice or a decision or a behavior that someone is making that may or may not impact me directly. Often it impacts me, but it why does it bother me? And do I have to turn the mirror on myself? Because I think what happens in some instances is their behavior is something I have done in the past. And I don't like that I may have done that. I hate the idea I may have hurt someone's feelings. That rubs me wrong so many ways. But I also will stand up and say, mea culpa, I made a mistake. I own it. I apologize. And then I'm letting it go. You can accept it or not. That's not on me. That's the let them theory. I apologize. Now you have a choice. You can accept that apology or you cannot. But that's not on me. And I'm no longer, the old me would have lamented that and lived with it and taken it and carried it and put it in my backpack of pain and sorrow. This whole year has been me trying to eliminate the pain and sorrow in my backpack so I can move forward and climb up the mountain and have a whole new view. And I haven't been able to do that so successfully. I'm going to take that back. I have been able to do that successfully. I've stumbled a few times and my pack got too heavy and there was no man's to carry it for me. And they're not supposed to carry that, right? That's the whole release. And that's what I'm learning. And I'm learning that also through Echo's channel, who I've been watching. And, we have to assume the power of change. If we don't like something, change it. And guess what? If you don't make a decision, that's still a decision. That's the funny part about life. If you're indecisive and so you don't move forward, you made a choice to not move forward. That's the choice. because nothing's happening. You're stalled. So, with these 12 universal laws of the universe, I'll bring them up next year. I will find a way to incorporate that into my being from here on out. But yes, unless they want to carry it for you, nothing wrong with that. And wouldn't that be great to share the load? I think share the conversations and to also share that, look, I'm struggling today. Can someone please help me out? Can you please carry the groceries today? Can you please lift the case of water that, aches my back? And I ordered 3 of them and I picked them up from the grocery store and I put them in the car and I took them out of the car. Then I had to move them again. It's like sometimes I miss the chivalryness of my dad being around and when he was here and he would help me. He's like, no, I got it for you. I got it for you. I'm like, okay, Dad. And I let him because he couldn't do a lot for me that he could do for me. And you begin to understand what people can and can't do. And I needed to allow, I was about to say we need to allow, but I'm not putting that on you. I had to allow him to be able to do some of the tasks that, I could do, but he wanted to do them. It gave him a purpose. And that is, yes, chivalry does live. It does. It still lives, Scotty, and I hope it does for the next couple of generations. And I think that goes both ways. I remember holding the door and for somebody, and a gentleman said to me, "Oh, I got it." And my first response was, "No, no, please go." He's like, "I've got it." I said, "Okay," because I don't know what it was. There was something, maybe an angel was pushing my ass through the door that said, he needs this. And even though he had his cane, he wanted to hold that freaking door. And I just turned and I said, "I really appreciate it. Thank you so very much." And on I went. And I hope somewhere in there it sort of, filled him up with, I still got it, and gave him a sense of accomplishment. And I had to learn that because I was a bull in a china shop. I was the girl in the subway that always gave up my seat to a male or a female that needed the seat. And there were boys and young people always sitting in the seats that never got up. And I thought maybe my example of giving the seat to the next person would be an example. And maybe it didn't do anything, but I didn't do it to show up everybody. I did it because I know I've been tired sometimes and really needed a seat on the subway. And if someone gave up a seat to me, oh, that was a miracle. So kindness can be demonstrated. Masculine and feminine can be demonstrated in so many unlikely ways. So let me just check the comments before I sign off. Yes, Scotty, it's all a balance. I still put out a chair for a girl. Oh, I love that. Wow. It's been so long. I've been on a date. No one's pulled out a chair for me. So I wouldn't even know if anyone still does that in my neck of the woods. I'd like to hope so. Yeah, I mean, I was one of those girls that watched all those movies and thought, oh, what would it be like if someone opened the car door for me? I'm like, that's old fashioned. And it is old fashioned. And I'm old fashioned. I mean, I'm glad I was born when I was born, but I really should have been born like in the 40s and 50s when there was some chivalry. There was honor among men. And I think there still is. I think we're seeing a really seedy, negative side of the world at the moment. And that's why I talk about it. It only takes one of us to show kindness, that maybe it will spur kindness on. It only takes one of us to do a good deed for someone else that might turn around and do a good deed for someone else. I think we have the power with our words and our actions to really change the world. And if not the whole world, maybe your environment. And if not your environment, maybe that one instance. And maybe that's enough. We are in weird times right now, Scotty. And, I was listening to All We Need Is Love. That is all we need. And I was laughing. I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Love. Who loves anymore? And I said, girl, rein it back in because all we do need is love. And we need acceptance and forgiveness. And this is a world of confusion, Scotty. And I think, you know, it's complicated because as humans, and we will be talking about this, some of us have surrendered our authority, our decision making to others. We've said, no, no, you go ahead and make the decisions for me. Well, hell's bells. I'm done with that. I should have been in the 20s, in the 1920s. I know. Oh, you love with all you have? Well, lucky are the people that are in your life that you love with all you have. Um, I would say that I do love with all I have, but now my world is so much smaller, and I am stingier with my love. I've been hurt so much. Um, I have sheltered myself, and that is my goal for 2026: is to take small steps to step out of my cocoon and be that butterfly that will claw her way out of the cocoon to become the butterfly, to metamorphosize. And that's really what I'll be talking about in 2026 is the evolution and the unveiling of what I know I have inside me that I have been hiding because I don't want to feel hurt anymore. But P.S., I want to live and I want to have a life. And in order to have a life, you have to take risks. And I have not been a risk taker in the last couple of years. And, you know, wouldn't it be awesome if I could find that within myself and believe it and not just talk the talk, but walk the walk? Yeah. So, Echo, I lived in a Victorian house for almost 20 years. It was the dream of dreams. And when I had to sell that house, it was as a death for me. It broke my heart. I'm lucky I live in a two family that is a Victorian, sort of. And I love it. It needs a lot of work, but it's a rental. So I'm not gonna diddle around with it. But my dream is to build my own tiny house eventually in the Victorian style. And I've seen some sketches and I'm like, oh, I would love that. And that is my world. I loved the quaintness of it. I'm not a modern girl, although I did find a stone house that I also really liked. So we'll see. Um, then you said, yeah, yeah, yeah. Knock down the walls. Love yourself is key. It will strengthen your overall love. Yes, exactly. I had to learn how to love myself. Yes, Echo. And I heard you say that the other night. And I agree. And I do. I think I do. I think but I can't imagine more. I can imagine. Yes, Elizabeth. It's not easy to dig in and love yourself and accept yourself because when you had a history of, I'm 62, so 62 years of people and their voices dictating you're good enough, you're not good enough, you're pretty enough, you're not pretty enough, you're smart enough, you're not smart enough, you can do this, you can't do this in your head, and nowhere did you breathe to find your own voice. Eventually, you're forced to find your own voice. And my encouragement to young people would be find it now. Find it now. If you're 30 years old now, find it now. Don't be 60 and find it. I mean, it's never too late. You could be 70, you could be 80 and find it. But what a world if you could find your voice now at 30, 35. Because your 20s, you should be learning and playing and making mistakes and screwing up and having adventures before, grown uphood really does descend upon you, before you choose a mate, before you have children. And if you're having them young, I think good for you. You're not having a chance to find your own voice. And maybe I'm wrong. So that might be an observation for the future. Let's see. Me too, 63 in January. Girl, We're going to be celebrating. This is exactly the healing journey I have been on this year. And I've watched a lot of it and I've admired you do it. The universe will help you find it. It might not be pretty, but it sure will. Oh, yeah. And I agree. So, guys, I know I've kept us over time, but thank you so much for being here. I don't have my intro and outro. I haven't figured out this new way of using YouTube without a streaming service. But I am truly blessed and grateful for all of you to be here. Yes, Echo, my butterfly wings are almost dry and I plan to fly in 2026. And I can't wait to witness it. I will be your witness. As so many of your followers are your witness. And you have been so inspirational and encouraging to me, whether you know it or not. So I send you love. Scotty, you are such an amazing example of a man. I can't even tell you. It means a lot to me. And it means a lot to me that you're here. Elizabeth, thank you so much for being here. I love following your channel. I don't always catch it, and I don't know if there's an actual time that you're always on, but when I'm there, you are a light. So thank you. And for anybody behind the scenes, I mean, Mish has guided me so much. I know she's not here, but I really do love her. So I send you all so much love, so much healing, so much compassion, so much joy. And I will see you guys on Thursday. And hopefully I will have figured out this streaming stuff. Bless you. Have a good night, guys.